The Deep Space Tavern. The rusty comet sat at the edge of civilized space, where the Galactic Empire's iron grip loosened just enough for the desperate to breathe. Nick sat in the darkest corner booth, nursing a drink that tasted like recycled coolant, when two small figures approached through the smoke and dim lighting. They couldn't have been more than 8 and 10 years old. The older one, Kiza, had eyes that had seen too much for her age. Her younger sister clutched her hand, trembling. Both wore clothes that were clean but worn, patched multiple times with mismatched fabric. "You're the Baba Yaga," Kiza said. It wasn't a question. Nick looked up, his weathered face partially hidden beneath a hood. The nickname had followed him across 12 systems, a ghost story whispered in space stations and colony worlds. The boogeyman that hunted monsters. "That depends on who's asking," he replied, his voice gravelly from years of breathing recycled air on ships that barely held together. "We are." Kiza reached into her pocket and placed something on the table. It clinked, a small bag of credit chips. "We want to hire you." Nick didn't touch the money. He'd seen countless desperate people in his years operating outside the law, but children? That was new. "Go home, kids. This isn't a place for you. We don't have a home anymore." Kiza's voice cracked but didn't break. "The Empire took it. They took everything." The younger sister finally spoke, barely a whisper. "They killed our mom." Nick's jaw tightened. He'd heard similar stories before, too many times. The Galactic Empire, humanity's supposed crowning achievement, had become a machine that crushed anyone who stood in its way. After humanity had spread across the stars and encountered other species, fear had transformed Earth's government into something monstrous. "Tell me what happened," Nick said quietly, sliding the credit chips back across the table. "And keep your money." Kiza took a shaky breath. Mom was a teacher on Station Kepler 186. She spoke out against the Empire's new human purity laws. They came in the night, Imperial enforcers. We heard everything from the closet where she hid us. Her small hands clenched into fists. They beat her. We heard every hit, every scream. Then silence. They left her there like garbage. The younger sister was crying now, silent tears streaming down her cheeks. "Why come to me?" Nick asked, though he already knew the answer. He'd made a career of being humanity's dark mirror, the one who did what others wouldn't to protect the innocent from their own kind. "Because you're human," Kiza said simply. "And you kill bad humans. The Empire thinks they're untouchable because they're us, our species, but you've proven they're not." Nick leaned back, studying the two girls. Other species had names for humans now. The clever apes, the persistent ones, the species that doesn't know when to quit. But within humanity itself, there were two types emerging: those who believed might made right, and those who remembered what they were supposed to stand for. "The enforcers who killed your mother, you know their names?" Kiza produced a small data chip. "Everything's here. Names, ranks, where they're stationed now. Mom kept records of everything. She knew they might come for her." Nick took the chip, weighing it in his palm. Such a small thing to contain such heavy truth. "Your mother was brave. Stupid, but brave." "She said someone had to stand up," Kiza replied. "She said that's what makes us human. The choice to do what's right even when it's hard." "Pretty words," Nick muttered. "Words get people killed." "So does silence," Kiza shot back, and for a moment Nick saw the mother in the daughter. That same fire, that same refusal to bend. He sighed, a sound like ancient machinery grinding to life. "You girls have somewhere safe to go?" "Aunt Maria on New Bangalore, but she doesn't have money to bring us there." "That's why," Kiza gestured to the credit chips. Nick pulled out his own data pad and transferred a sum that made both girls' eyes widen. "That'll get you to New Bangalore and keep you fed for a year. Consider it a refund." "But I don't take money for this kind of work," Nick interrupted. "Never have. What I do because someone has to." He stood towering over the small girls. Beneath his coat, they could see the outline of weapons, human weapons made by human hands, designed to end human lives when those lives were spent destroying innocence. "Go to your aunt. Live your lives. Forget about revenge. What will you do?" the younger sister asked. Nick looked down at the data chip. "What I always do. Remind the Empire that being human doesn't mean being safe. It means being accountable." Kiza grabbed his hand suddenly, her small fingers barely wrapping around his scarred palm. "Thank you, Baba Yaga. Nick, he corrected gently. My name's Nick. The Baba Yaga is what I become when I'm working. After the girls left, escorted by the tavern owner to the transport station, Nick sat alone in the darkness. He inserted the data chip and studied the faces that appeared. 5 Imperial enforcers, all decorated, all protected by the system they served. A lesser species might have understood mercy, but humans? Humans understood justice, and when their own institutions failed to provide it, humans like Nick stepped into the gap. The galaxy had learned to fear humanity's capacity for violence. What they were still learning was that humans turned that capacity inward just as readily, hunting their own monsters with the same relentless determination they'd once used to conquer stars. Nick downed the last of his drink and stood. The Baba Yaga had work to do. Somewhere 5 enforcers had just become prey, stalked by the thing they should have feared most. A human who still remembered what humanity was supposed to mean. And